All right, special three up, three down, free agent edition with Greg Bedard and Mazz. 3 best and 3 worst free agent moves across the NFL. Let's go. What's your favorite move across the NFL, Greg?
Let's see what you got, big boy.
So my favorite move, which will probably make Patriots fans mad, but Laramie Tunsil. The Commanders getting Laramie Tunsil because they got into a position because last year they knocked it out of the park with their mid-level free agency and the draft where they plucked like 4 or 5 starters. They bought themselves the opportunity to go out and do something like that somewhere where the Patriots aren't. But putting Tunsil there with Jaden Daniels, I mean, that's the ideal.
I like what Seattle did at quarterback. It felt kind of like next-level maneuvering, frankly. They traded Geno Smith to the Raiders and got a third-round pick. In the process, they dumped his $31 million salary. Then they basically gave the money to Sam Darnold. So without increasing their payroll, they traded Geno Smith for Sam Darnold and a third-round pick. They got 7 years younger at quarterback. They got higher ceiling at quarterback. And I understand that they're weak at receiver because they traded DK Metcalf and let Tyler Lockett go. But I think they may have found their next guy. And I don't know what Darnold's going to be in the grand scheme. But I think he's better than Geno Smith.
Second star, Greg?
The Broncos stealing the heart of the San Francisco 49ers defense with Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga at safety. Man, that Broncos defense is going to be something else this year. I mean, and you know, I'm going to get to the 49ers in a little bit, but that was great for them. I wanted the Patriots to go in and get a couple 49ers guys because it seemed like a fire sale's going on there. But that was a great move by the Broncos.
Patriots, Milton Williams. It was a good move. Really, they spent more guaranteed money on that deal than any team in the league did yesterday. There was no deal with a higher guaranteed money in it. They got a young player in the center of the defense. Good move.
Very big of you, Mazz.
I know. I'm surprised.
I know. You okay?
Oh, I feel great.
You feeling all right?
Yeah, it worked out today. I feel awesome.
Third star there, Greg.
So
the endorphins.
I have Milton Williams here, but I have it with a tie with the Chiefs getting Jalen Moore at left tackle. Sort of similar situations and guys that haven't been in a full-time role that both the Patriots and the Chiefs are betting on this guy. When I went back and I watched the film of the left tackles available, Jalen Moore was my top guy available. And I think they got him at a reasonable rate, $15 million a year. You kick Sum Mataia inside now. Look, he's never played more than like 280 snaps in a season. So we'll have to see how he does. But I thought this was a good plan by the Chiefs.
Rams, Devontae Adams. I love that pickup. They obviously feel like they're upgrading Cooper Kupp. They got him for $23 million a year. I thought Adams looked dynamite in the last, call it 6 weeks of the season. He's still got plenty left. You put him with McVay. You put him with Stafford. I like it. The potential there is high.
3 down, worst free agent signing or, trade. You can include that player movement here in the last week, Greg, across the league. Number 1.
The Titans signing Dan Moore at left tackle for $22 million a season. That's just ridiculous. He is not a good player. He is at best average. The Steelers didn't want him. The Steelers, he's been their starter for multiple years. They drafted 2 guys in the first round in back-to-back years to get rid of Dan Moore. They finally got to a point where they could, let him go. And all of a sudden, the Titans pounce at $22 million a year? No, gross.
Justin Fields to the Jets. Look, I've been after Justin Fields for a couple of years. Good guy to take a gamble on. I've come to the conclusion he sucks. And it is such a Jets move to get a quarterback who cannot really carry any sort of element of the passing game. Not with any consistency anyway. What a mistake.
Third worst player move across the league, Greg.
Well, I'm on number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Second worst.
But it's Justin Fields to the Jets. I think that's a net win for the Patriots. I've never thought much of Justin Fields. He doesn't throw the ball well enough. They actually invested some money into him. The Jets just continue to be a joke.
Laramie Tunsil out of Houston. What's Houston doing moving him? They have offensive line problems, so he had a subpar year. They all did up front. So you move your left tackle, who's one of maybe the 5 best players at his position in the league, maybe top 10. That's the guy you move? And after all the stuff you did to contend potentially for the Super Bowl last year? Stupid.
No, number 3.
The exodus out of San Francisco. I mean, you knew it was coming. Mike Silver did a great story in The Athletic where basically after they spent the most money last year, $340 million for 6 wins, Jed York was basically like, yep, we're not doing that again. And this is the list of guys that have gone out. Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, Kyle Juszczyk, Travarius Ward, Aaron Banks, Jalen Moore, Josh Dobbs, Elijah Mitchell, Leonard Floyd, Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave, Deebo Samuel. Oof. That's a lot. That's brutal.
Darius Slayton, the receiver. So the Giants let him go and then re-sign him. And he sucks. What's the logic there? Why did the Giants feel like the Patriots from a year ago where they had sucky guys and they just re-signed them?
What's up with Josh Dobbs being on this team, Greg? What does that mean for Joe Milton?
It's a good question.
Thank you.
I have been trying to effort that. I mean, my initial reaction to Dobbs being here was not, oh, well, Milton's definitely out the door. I believe that you need a veteran with 2 second-year quarterbacks. You're going to need quarterbacks, for camp arms, whatever. At the very least, I mean, I guess you could get that undrafted free agency and things like that. But, I like having a veteran there because you never know what's going to happen. And I think most teams want some sort of veteran quarterback. Like, Brian Hoyer was here, not making nothing when Mac Jones was a rookie. Of course, Jacoby Brissett was brought in last year. That was a little bit different. He was brought in to be the quote-unquote starter. But Josh Dobbs is a guy who played for Mike Vrabel. I figured they would bring in a veteran. So it doesn't necessarily say a Milton trade is imminent. Does it up the chances and the odds? Yeah, probably.
Thank you. Okay, you've come around since last night.
A little bit. Yeah.
I mean, it's just common sense. I think they have their leverage now for the Milton trade. In other words, if they're out there shopping Joe Milton right now and they have nothing else at quarterback,
they get lowballed.
Then they sort of, we still need a backup quarterback. Well, now they have the guy. And so now they are in a relative, again, keyword relative, position of strength. You don't give us what we want, we'll keep them. And if we let them go, we've got something we have a backup plan in our backup plan. And now we're all set. And now we can deal from a position of strength. And that's where I think that they are. And I think my guess, again, talking to nobody that Greg talks to or anyone that anyone talks to, but the whole thing about culture and the locker room and all of this, or maybe someone wrote it too, that Joe Milton fancies himself a starter.
Yeah, he thinks highly of himself.
Okay, so is that like, did Vrabel want to clear the decks of that crap?
Maybe.
Like, I don't want to have to deal with the backup who's not even close to my starter, who thinks he should start, and now I got to deal with that attitude, and we got to deal with that attitude, and that's just going to get in the way of Drake, man, get in the way of what we're trying to do. So
kind of like Bailey Zappi.
I was going to just say, this organization's just recently dealt with this. So if Vrabel comes in and says, well, what's it been like here the last few years? Well, we had 2 a-hole quarterbacks, and so he's like, I don't want to deal with this. So that might be part of it. You're right.
So I just wonder if that's part of the whole thing. If Milton isn't, I don't blame Milton. He should be confident in himself. He should want to be a starter. He should carry himself like that. Try to be the man. Like, that's the whole thing. But does either take it too far or doesn't quite really understand the score, or they just want to eliminate that because why do we want to deal with this right now?
I mean, look, Greg, I think it's in play at least because Dobbs is making 3.8 guaranteed, I think
nothing.
It is. But that's not. If you want,
I love how you say that. That's nothing.
It's nothing.
But if you wanted a guy for
the team that won't replace the carpet in the locker room or get him new towels.
Exactly.
I deal with the
Purple
football team.
sandpaper.
You deal with the other BS.
But
you try wiping your ass with those towels.
Right. It's like, again, purple sandpaper. So, but if you were just going to have a guy in for camp, why wouldn't you just go get A.J. McCarron or someone like that? You know what I mean? Someone of that ilk that you're not paying $4 million guaranteed to.
Yeah, I don't think he's a camp arm. I think that's nothing for a backup quarterback. I would agree with you there. But that's not someone you bring in just as
No, obviously he's not.
Take reps.
He's here for 1 year, at the very least. But, what is it? 1 year guaranteed $3.75 million for I don't know how long he's been in the league, like 9-10 years. That's nothing. It's not. That's the going rate. I think Brian Hoyer at one point made like $8 million to back up. So
I'm just saying they're not signing him to release him in camp. Like,
for sure.
He's going to be here.
Yeah, unless he's terrible, unless he can't play, then yeah, they would cut him. I mean, I don't think he's definitely here. If Josh McDaniels has never been around him, Josh McDaniels has never been around.
Want to make a bet?
No,
he's going to be here all season long.
I think so too.
And Joe Milton's probably gone,
or at least most of the season.
He's here. Vrabel didn't Vrabel draft him or sign him in Tennessee a million years ago?
Yeah, 2022. He was there for 1 year.
So,
but I mean, it's hard for me to bet. I would bet you, but I'm saying if he's god awful in camp, if he looks old and can't play, they will cut him. $3.75 million is nothing for a team to eat. This team has eaten a lot more in dead cap space.
3.75 is nothing for most teams to eat.
He's here.
Not this one.
They didn't sign him to cut him.
Hang on, let me.
And I'm a little disappointed in the Milton thing. I wouldn't give up. I'd try and figure out the ego thing, and figure out whatever's going on there, and develop the talent. Unless
get more for him.
Unless you're going to get a good return on him right now, and if you're selling high and that's a good return, I guess we can debate what that is. But if it's a third round pick or higher, you can certainly make that case. Draft him in the 6th round 1 year, trade him in the 3rd the next, and for nothing. You'd probably have to do that. But anything less than that, I'd rather see what you got. Yes,
I agree. And look, with Drake May's durability, I don't want to say issues, but
issues.
Look, we don't know. We don't know whether he can stay healthy, whether he can not, spin to stay in bounds and get hit in the head again. We don't know that. I mean, if you're the Patriots, and also if you're Joe Milton, the best idea for him is to stick around. Drake May's not durable. Say there's a 4-game stretch where they say, you know what? Milton gives us the best chance. Dobbs is going to continue to be the backup, and he goes out there and he goes 3-1. All of a sudden, next year, somebody's giving you a 1st-round pick for him. That's sort of the way these things go. And by the way, on Joe Milton, I finally, after the firing and hiring the staff at Senior Bowl and Combine, I finally got around to watching the Bills game. Don't tell Joe Milton this, because his head will only get more inflated. His game that I graded was higher than anything Drake May did this year.
I love it.
Wow.
So we don't grade it. We don't factor in the competition.
No, I just grade on the film. I mean,
because most of those guys are back teaching PE this year.
If he was going against the Bills starters, it probably would have been more like C level. But
what he did was legit good.
Yeah, what he did was it was legit good. Now look, it was very simple. Everything was outside the numbers. I mean, yes, he made some athletic plays. He made some great throws. But I would say they simplified things. Can you do that in the middle of a regular season? I doubt it. So there's a lot still to learn about Joe Milton.
I knew he was good. I got a good eye.
Not to encourage you people, but I'm sort of in the camp that I'm intrigued, and I don't know what, he's got physical ability.
Told you.
And he's a young, toolsy prospect. I would just hang on to those guys. Unless someone, really makes it worth my while, then of course.
I'd trade May.
But I wouldn't go too far with that. And again, like I said, I try and figure out that other thing. Tom and Quincy, let's grab a call here before we do 10 questions. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, Greg, since they didn't, the Patriots didn't go after a number 1 or even a number 2 or even really a number 3, they went with Matt Collins, which is fine. But is there any chance, which I hope to Christ your answer is no, that they're holding out hope that Polka Baker is actually going to turn into a number 1 receiver, and they're not going to have to give away draft capital or tons of money on a long-term contract to a guy that is a legitimate franchise wide receiver number 1? Is that the possibility that they simply didn't make those moves yesterday? And I know it's only after 1 day, but did they not make the moves yesterday because they have no plan to make the moves to grab a number 1 or number 2 and settle on those 2 guys as those number 1 and number 2 next year?
Polka Baker? I love Tommy. Yeah, I love his accent too. It's perfect.
It is.
So no, as short answer is no. They are not. Whatever their inactivity at wide receiver has nothing to do with them saying, yeah, Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, they're gonna wreck the league next year. No, it's nothing close to that. I mean, look, I think when it comes to a lot of the players on this team, especially the young players, and this goes for both sides of the ball, every position. The slate is wiped clean. everybody's going to get a chance to prove themselves. They either sink or they swim. If they sink, they're gone. And they don't care where people were drafted or anything like that.